My name is Yuji Uesugi of Waseda University, Tokyo. My presentation today is on mid-space gatekeepers in Mindanao. It will focus on the functions of local NGOs in Mindanao. Today, I will present a draft of a joint study conducted with J.C. Espesa of Mindanao State University and Songyun Lee of the University of Otago. Here is a map of Mindanao, southern island in the Philippines. And this is the area called Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. The area painted in green is our focus today. The main argument of the paper is shown here. Please take a moment to read it. The paper itself is a descriptive piece. Today's presentation, however, will highlight the dilemma of relying on local NGOs as an agent for liberal peace building. The key dilemma that I will focus today is as follows. Local NGOs may contribute to liberal practice, but they are indispensable for reaching out to the conflict-affected populations. This diagram shows the functions of local NGOs vis-à-vis the outside peace builders, such as the international organizations, donors, and international NGOs. Outside peace-building agents to work in Mindanao, they have to use local NGOs. Local NGOs need permission from their mid-space gatekeepers to be able to gain access to the beneficiaries in the communities. Beneficiaries include indigenous people, internally displaced people, and women and children. Mid-space gatekeepers are political actors and exploit peace-building assistance to increase their leverage over their constituencies to enhance their patron-client relationship. Along the way, liberal peace-building endeavors have become a commodity for local political competition, which leads to unintended consequences. In the paper, we argue that the key actors is the mid-space gatekeepers. Mid-space gatekeepers are defined as an actor who can shape the trajectory and the landscape of hybrid peace building in their sphere of influence at the grassroots, as they can regulate the access of external actors, activities, products, and ideas. We identified 4 types of mid-space gatekeepers in Mindanao. We have categorized local NGOs into 3. In Mindanao, mid-space gatekeepers by themselves establish or involved in NGOs. In other words, all local NGOs are in one way or another proxy of mid-space gatekeepers, as they represent their proxy mid-space gatekeepers. For example, the BDA, the Bangsamoro Development Agency, is known as the proxy NGO of MILF, Moro Islamic Liberation Front. The conventional NGOs can be understood as the proxy of NGO executive members who were usually the elite. The proxy NGOs are the proxy of warlord politicians and level commanders. Faith-based NGOs are the proxy of customary or the religious leaders. In the paper, we have demonstrated that the local NGOs are indispensable for service delivery. This picture shows IPs, who can be defined as a minority within the minorities. In the Philippines, where it is dominated by Christian populations, the Moros or the Muslims in Mindanao are minority at the national level. But in the Bangsamoro, there are non-Muslims who are usually called indigenous people or IPs. The strength of the local NGO rests in their ability to have an access to these vulnerable people. This access is guaranteed by the relevant mid-space gatekeepers, and each local NGOs must have a good relationship with the mid-space gatekeepers. In addition to the positive functions played by local NGOs, there is a dark side of the NGO activities. Because local NGOs have to operate within the existing local political structures, their involvement may exacerbate the existing local conflicts. For example, there is an existing tension between the rebel commanders and warlord politicians. Warlord politician is incumbent political actors in Mindanao. However, because of the peace process, the MILF and other rebel commanders has gained the legitimacy in the process. And because MILF is the official counterpart of the Philippine government in the peace process in Bangsamoro, the MILF affiliated NGOs or proxy NGOs has begun to receive assistance, particularly through international communities. The international support to MILF rebel commanders through a proxy NGOs has been seen as a threat to warlord politicians. Therefore, the peace-building assistance provided by the international community via local NGO to the mid-space gatekeepers, such as rebel commanders, has exacerbated the tension between the warlord politicians and the rebel commanders. On the second point of sustaining patrimonial relationship, because the mid-space gatekeepers has abilities to deny the access of the local NGOs have to listen to the wishes of the mid-space gatekeepers in order to gain access to the vulnerable people. From the point of view of the mid-space gatekeepers, these outside assistance can be regarded as a commodity for them to be utilized to increase their influence over their constituencies. Peace-building aids are considered to be spoils for their followers. Because assistance has to be delivered through a local NGO with the permission from the mid-space gatekeepers, the aid are usually reshaped to support the power of the mid-space gatekeepers. On the third point, sometimes external aid delivered from the local NGOs can attract young people who are frustrated, and they may lead to those young people to extreme actions. Now let us go back to the initial point about the dilemma. Local NGOs are not ideal agents for promoting liberal peace building. At the same time, however, local NGOs are essential for delivering assistance to the conflict-affected community, particularly to the most vulnerable people. In light of what I have presented, in the remaining time with the panel, I would like to discuss how do we overcome this dilemma.